For the 2018 Medans Festival, they asked me to deliver a lecture, 2 hours on the history of props. I thought if I was going to spend that much time, I might as well put together a video. So here's a quick overview of belly dance props. Hi, I'm Kashmir, and you may have noticed I already have a number of videos on individual belly dance props. But this video is going to look at a whole lot of props very, very briefly. It's going to be a quick overview. Now the first question is, what is a belly dance prop? Now in my mind, a belly dance prop should be something that supports your dance. It isn't a dance in itself. So if the whole dance is about your prop, it isn't belly dance, it's something else. So you should be able to take the prop away and with a few tweaks still have an interesting dance. Now I've done cane, shamadan, even veil, where the majority of the practice has been on actually putting the dance together. There is an underlying dance which actually stands alone. Now sure, there's a lot of work involved in actually manipulating the prop, and you actually have to be in control of your prop, but the dance is the important thing. There should be some belly dance underneath if it is actually a belly dance with props as opposed to a prop dance. Okay, enough of that. I'm going to split this into two halves. First of all, I'm going to look at traditional props and I'm going to look at the recent innovations. Until recently, I would have said traditional and Western, but of course there are many Asian countries these days which are involved in belly dance and which are also adding their own props in there. So traditional props are props from the countries of origin that have been used for generations. So it is not a traditional prop if one dancer in the Middle East suddenly picks up a set of wings. That doesn't make it a traditional prop. And because I've got that sort of organisational brain, I then thought, okay, so what sort of props do we have? And I came up with three main categories, and that is musical instruments, everyday objects, and balancing objects. I can see some people going, no, a musical instrument is not a prop. It does depend how you use it. For many belly dancers, yes it is. So they play zills, and the zills just add a little bit to the dance. You can take the zills away, you still have a dance, then that's being used as a prop. I will give you though that in some cases the playing of the zills are so important that you can't take them away. For instance, if you're dancing just to zills, so the only music is your zills, then you take away the zills, you can't dance anymore. And I also know that traditionally sometimes the street dancers would come down the street playing the zills, and that would be a way of actually calling people together for the performance. There are some dancers who actually insist that the playing of zills is a defining characteristic for belly dance. Now this brings me to one other point. For this video and for my lecture in Napier, I'm extending the definition of belly dance a wee bit further than some people would go. So I've basically taken any of the traditional dances from the Middle East, which are basically torso driven, solo and improvisational. So we'll have some folk stuff coming in here as well. So musical instruments, we have zills. We also have spoons. So in Turkey they play pairs of wooden spoons, and they play them like zills. Each hand has two spoons and you click them away furiously. I tried them once, I ended up with cramp in my hand. I never tried it again. Egyptian spoons are very different. So Egyptian spoons are more like Western spoons, metal spoons played against the body. And you'll find those around Port Said and the Suez Canal. So they were introduced by the foreign workers who helped build and then maintain the canal. The other things that dancers have been known to do is to look around and find something and actually incorporate it into their dance. If you're into Egyptian dance, the most common prop you've come across is most likely to be a cane or a stick, a saya. So this is a wee cane, and it's used swung, it's twirled, it can be balanced. Again, the emphasis is not on the stick. It's on the dance, and the stick helps do the dance. Now, Egypt isn't the only place that does cane. Most of the countries in the Eastern Mediterranean does, and I've done 2 videos on that, so that's enough for that. People can also play with their clothes. Now, again, a very common and well-known example of this is from Saudi Arabia and the women's khaliji dance. So they have the beautiful thobe and they manipulate the thobe as they dance. So that's an example of using your clothes. In Egypt, we have the Malaya Luf, where a woman dances, acts and manipulates a very large wrap. This is an invented tradition, so this has only been around since the 1960s, but it's now a firm part of the Egyptian repertoire. At a pinch, you could possibly include Tanura, except for Tanura is really a ritual, not a dance. However, as you see it as an entertainment inside a belly dance show, I think it's almost switching over to the point where it ceases to become of any religious significance. So do be aware that there's quite different examples of Tanura, the more traditional one and the one that you actually see in a belly dance show. Tunisia, of course, has the famous scarf dance. You also see that with Mawasha, but anyway, the scarf dance from Tunisia. And this was first seen in the West in 1851 in London. So that's been around, it's been known about for a long time. Tunisia also has the famous pot dance, where the dancer actually dances with one or sometimes several pots on top of their head. In Egypt, you'll sometimes see pots and baskets. Pots don't tend to go on the head, they tend to go on the shoulder. And again, this is an invented tradition from Rita style, but you will see it there. Quite different though from the Tunisian dance. The steps are different and the attitude and the purpose is quite different too. So this brings us on to our balancing items, and dancers like to show off. So there's the candelabra. Yes, a full candelabra on the head. Raqs Ramadan. This is associated with weddings and it's a particular Egyptian style of dance. Morocco, on the other hand, has their tea tray dance. They have a tray on their head, it has cups and full of water, and it's that they actually roll around doing floor work and some really fast turns, and the tray stays on the head. So it's pretty spectacular. I've run out of time. Oops, I guess I'm going to have to continue this in the next video. So in the next video I'll look at those props that have been added to the belly dance from outside of the Middle East.